13 of 15 rounds at the Japanese circuit, Suzuka. Can it be already the title deciding race, Adam? I don't think so, with 3 rounds to go, but yeah, I forgot to mention that I'm not alone. I'm here with Adam. Yeah, and hopefully we'll get an exciting race as the real F1 race has produced us today.
Well, hello Matthias, hello everyone watching. This is round 13 Formula Euroleague Championship here live at the Suzuka circuit here in Japan. And as Matthias said already, the championship battle starting to hot up very, very nicely. As you can see, 4 points separates our top 2 drivers in Kai Elting and also Darth FIFA. But let's not count out Monster. After his incredible performance at last week's Italian Grand Prix. And for those of you that haven't already seen it, I do recommend you guys check that out. That is on the Formula Euroleague Twitch page. If you haven't seen it, on www.twitch.tv/Formula Euroleague, and of course on the YouTube channel as well, Formula_Euro_League. So what an exciting race that we've got ahead today. Looks like we've got all of our drivers ready, which is always a good sign. And Matthias, which way do you think this is going to go? Obviously, we've had Darth that's been a bit out of form of late, but of course finished in the points in Italy. But Kai Elting, the man who was in form, the man with the speed, literally throwing all away all those points that he had in that race on the very, very last lap in dramatic fashion. Are we starting to see the pressure getting to our leading drivers? Do we feel that maybe Monster has enough time to bring a late charge? He's certainly got the races left in him. Do we feel perhaps we may end up with a 3 driver championship rather than a 2?
Yeah, it could be, but Monster's quite a while back to them, as he should have won in the Italian Grand Prix, but got a penalty really late. On Tuesday, Thursday, I don't know, but he got a late penalty which dropped him to behind after the podium. So
Yes.
I think he has to win those 3 races and have to hope his rivals won't make they may have to make mistakes. So it will be still really difficult for him to win it, but everything is possible, you know. You never know.
Yeah, we should mention, obviously, Monster getting that post-race penalty, demoting him from the top spot, which left Plajabol winning first time out for Ferrari in the F1 series. And of course, he's back with us today, so Ferrari clearly happy with what he did, and they've given him another opportunity in the Scuderia Tour this race. And of course, we have his teammate Ardapple Gamer in the Ferrari as well, a driver that's been away from the series for a while, came back to us very, very recently, won this time last season at the Japanese Grand Prix. So are we expecting similar heroics from him, or do we feel that perhaps he still needs time to get back up to speed with some of the other leading drivers?
I don't know, we'll just have to just wait and see till we are crossing the final lap of the final race, and it will be just, I think, 3 or 4 weeks time. We might have a break between the races. Had to fix something with the things.
Well, of course, the Japanese Grand Prix, a favourite of many Formula 1 drivers and esports drivers, like certainly one of my favourites on the calendar. 18 turns, one DRS zone, I should say, running from up to turn 1. One of the unique circuits that feature a figure of 8 on the circuit layout, and it's a very interesting track in terms of setup. You really want a car that doesn't necessarily roll offline much. You want a car that's very much good on the turn in, doesn't understeer too much, doesn't really get away from you. You want that confidence, that rhythm, that flow that allows you to go through sections like the S curves, the Dunlop curve, the 2 Degnas as well. There are a few traction zones on this circuit, not many, so this is one of those tracks as well where you can pretty much run very similar settings to the front and rear wings. Your priority on this circuit is definitely front end grip and front end downforce, so it'll be interesting to see what the guys today decide to do in terms of their setup. Will they prioritise the race? Will they prioritise qualifying? There's definitely a gulf between the two, and we'll find out as qualifying is about to get underway which directions those guys go down. How about you, Matthias? How would you prepare your car for this track through Suzuka?
Yeah, obviously you need a lot of downforce, as you have the really, you don't have any straight line speed in Sector 1, as you have the famous S's there, and Degner 1 and Degner 2 and Dunlop. So you need full downforce you can get there. Then you actually approach the hairpin, where you actually need you have to get a good exit out of there, because it's flat out, but it's still a corner. But you need the straight line of speed there, and as well out of spoon curve to 130R, and on the main straight, which isn't it too long main straight actually, but I think I would get around a little bit balanced, maybe more downforce on the rear, as you really need them through the fast corners, but you also want the front end to stick in while you're positioning your car for the next corner you're approaching. So it's really a driver's choice, you know, like you have drivers who can handle less downforce and drivers who like to have more downforce and sacrifice a little bit on the straight. So but I would preferably go for one which has more downforce, so you don't really have to turn in that heavy to save the tires a little bit at the end of your stints.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and it's a circuit as well that does lend itself to a lot of areas where you're off throttle going through the corners, and that means that you need the differential in your car to be a bit higher up than normal. I'd say around about 75% if it were me, just so that when you're off throttle going through the likes of the S curves, the Degners, spoon curve as well, your car, the front end of your car grips and you're not really rolling out wide, especially at spoon curve, because you really need the confidence, you really need the grip out of those traction zones to make overtakes, and more importantly avoid overtakes, because this is a track that, even though it's definitely much a downforce and a driver's circuit, there are plenty of overtaking opportunities. Obviously, you mentioned 130R, which is child's play in a modern-day Formula 1 car, but that will certainly change in years to come with the new regulations kicking in a few years' time. So I certainly cannot wait for that. I remember playing on some of the older Formula 1 games where you had to really lift off, almost brake and shift down into 130Rs. Now it's just a quick left-hander, as Charles Leclerc proved last season, drove it one-handed whilst adjusting the right wing mirror on his Ferrari. That was a sight, and I think that kind of inspired the downforce changes on these cars. They're just so quick now in the corners. But as I said, this is the sort of circuit where you really need the car to bite, you really need the tyres to work well, and even though it's a one-stop race, most likely in terms of the strategy, you do need to manage the tyres pretty well, although a safety car, quite common round here, that will certainly help with tyre management, but it's going to be a good test for these guys out there. Plenty of opportunity.
Yeah, but I think a safety car is it's quite a big chance we'll have one, as it's just such a difficult track to drive. It's just, you know, you have to get a good car as well, but in the real F1 world it's also a driver circuit. You see the likes of Lewis Hamilton, Verstappen really exceeding their cars. Like Verstappen did really good last year, and the years before that, or not last year, as he got bumped up by Leclerc. But it's also a real driver circuit, so you just have to time. It's just a really big chance we'll get a safety car. Maybe someone crashes out at spoon curve, but going too wide and hitting the gravel and the grass and just spinning out there, or maybe in the S's or Degner 1 or Dunlop. And in this year game, it's just really, it's just less easy to spin your car at a high-speed corner like Dunlop. I remember last year you were really able to lose the car really soon, as AMCF 33 says his first lap time with a 1:26.0, and Sepp can't get on that time, and I think that's a good lap time there, Adam.
Yeah, it's not a bad effort to start off. As you can see, the two Hush drivers in Kerem and SVDL, very good drivers. Maiko, FEL Energy, started to return to form of late, finishing very, very well most recent races, and the two Mercedes, first and second, although that's changed now. Danny Hetkamper with a 1:26.3. So the times are starting to tumble now. We're starting to see the low 1:26s. I'm expecting pole to be 25. In the 1:25s today. and as I said, there are plenty of guys out there with lots of pace, and Kai Elting will be definitely the man to watch out for in qualifying. Obviously getting more pole positions than anyone else. Has been a bit of a maestro in qualifying. Has got 5 to his name this season, although in truth hasn't got a pole since Silverstone.
Ooh, that's quite a while back.
Yeah, so that most likely you can see is
Bolin.
I was just going to mention him.
25-6.
Just going to mention Bolin as one of the favourites for pole position today. Of course, we've got other drivers like Ballina as well, another driver who got on pole in Monza last time out. Definitely will be up there, but Bolin, yeah, he's one of the faster qualifiers, Bolin. He's definitely proved in recent weeks that he's very, very quick. However, he still is waiting for that maiden victory in Formula Euroleague, considering he's always at the front. He's just narrowly missing out on race victories. He's got 2 podiums this season in Canada and Monza, both runner-up finishes. He won on the circuit in Canada before the penalty he received removed that for him. So can he do it today? Is today the day where Bolin finally gets his maiden victory for Formula Euroleague?
He won on him, but it was a Pluijable who got his maiden win in Tier 1 as he got the Tier 2 championship.
Yeah, that's right. In F2 he was very quick, but obviously in F1, new to the series, but definitely a driver that I personally think next season will definitely be fighting for the championship. But of course, once he gets that first win, the confidence will start to flow. That's it. He's very quick in qualifying, but he needs to deliver the performance in the race. So hopefully for him, he's able to realise that very, very soon. I've got the utmost confidence in him to do that.
Yeah.
At this point in time, just following obviously the McLaren Flynn finisher. Also another strong performance from him in the Italian Grand Prix. He was very good and quiet for most of the race, and then come alive towards the end, get on the podium. Exactly. So
first McLaren
he's coming through the final corner now. What's his first time going to be? 1:25.8 on the front row. And it's funny, him and Bolin both joined at the F1 at the very same time. A Flynn finisher. They were very impressive in the Canadian Grand Prix. Flynn finisher getting the win in that race, and good omens for them so far. Very, very quick times. You can see only 13 drivers set a lap so far.
Yeah, we'll just follow Monster's lap, yeah. As he's just approaching the turn, one of which is as well a really tricky corner sometimes. You want to carry enough speed into the corner itself, but you want to get a good exit to position your car for the famous SSS actually.
Well, it's a driver's dream, this sort of lap.
Yeah. I want to drive it once, but I think it is impossible.
You never know. You know, you got to go over to Suzuka, maybe turn up with a car and just have a go around there. I'm sure they won't mind.
No.
But it's
just go through the fences. Just, don't mind me, I just want to complete the lap.
Yeah, why not? Have a go. It's like just off a bucket list, but Monster now coming through the fast section. It's been a fairly decent lap so far, but now coming up to one of my favourite parts, the spoon curve, really. You want to make sure the car drifts outside. The back end stepping out a little bit, just not really biting there, but he manages to correct it. It's going to cost him a bit of time, but now the run up the hill over the bridge area as Donkey retires from the session, but now coming up to 130 yards, a yellow flag ahead. A couple of cars ahead, shouldn't compromise him too much as SVDL gets out of the way. We've got a racing point ahead of us, Kai Elting, but he shouldn't be too much trouble at all as Monster negotiates the chicane. And now the run down, you want to make sure that that car sticks, doesn't step out on you, and he crosses the line, and there you go, on the front row. Lost a little bit of time in that final sector coming out of Spoon Curve. The second part of it may have cost him the time he needed to get pole position, but that's a good first run from Monster on the front row of the grid.
And we'll just follow Felix through his lap as he's just approaching the final corner, now exiting the final chicane, and he goes 10th fastest. And we'll just follow Balliner, the man who crashed on the main straight with Monster, and we gave Monster the penalty, but I think he got an invalidation this lap.
Yeah.
Maybe Pluijable, come on. The former race winner.
There you go.
5th place, I think he will be happy with it.
Yeah, so not bad effort from Pluijable there, 5th fastest. And as I said, since he's joined Ferrari in the F1 series, he's been knocking on the door. Of course, the F2 champion from last season absolutely obliterated the competition in that league. did a fantastic job, and I'm glad to see he's been given his first real opportunity in the series now. I'm just also watching Kai Eltink, who looks like to have abandoned this flying lap. But it's a bit interesting from Kai, because Kai is one of those drivers that tends to just deliver one lap at the last moment. A very, very risky strategy, but pays off for him more often than you'd think. So clearly not happy with that first run. Is he going to come into the pits, put on a new set of boots? I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah. Matthias crossing the line in 11th place.
So Matthias Gamer was very quick in qualifying the last couple of races for the Alpha team, along with his teammate Balliner. So hopefully he will have a bit of better luck in this race, as it kind of all went to pieces in the Italian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But 11th fastest at the moment.
Yeah, we'll just follow Michael through his lap as he's just going through the spoon curve, and he takes it really nicely. I saw a clip from Felix almost taking it flat out after just having to a little bit tapping on the brakes on the first section. As we'll just follow Michael, and let's see what he can do, as he now is managing the final chicane. Now approaching the line, is looking for an improvement, I think.
Oh,
improvement of 3/10 and just in front of Monster.
That was a good lap there. He didn't leave much on the table in terms of time there, Maiko. Very, very fast in the final sector. I think it was almost a purple final sector. Not sure about that, I have to check that, but it was very, very quick there compared to only half a tenth off of Bolin, so definitely in the hunt for pole position as Bolin's about to start a flying lap. But as you're saying there, it looked very, very nice coming through the spoon curve there from Maiko there. You can see that car set up very nicely, a lot of good front end grip, didn't roll too much on the outside, and he was able to carry a lot of speed as a result. That's kind of what you need for the race. You want a car that's not going to roll too much and understeer. You really want to have trust and confidence in your car that it's going to bite, at least at the front end. The rear looked a little bit unstable, but he seemed to handle that very nicely. So good lap from Maiko there, much more as we expected from him last season, being the runner-up in the series. So perhaps return to form is on the car stream, looking very good so far.
Yeah, we'll just follow Danny Hetkamp, who's in a good 7th place already, and he wants to improve that 7th place, but he goes really wide out of the spoon curve, and he abandons his lap. And then Lorenzo Bedini in the surprising 7th place, or sorry, 8th. And Bowen
just a complete contrast. Just a complete contrast there, Matthias, as I was saying about how good and stable that the Mercedes looked. Danny Hetkamper in the Renault, you see complete contrast, running very wide out of the second part of spoon curve, and not a lot of confidence. He's definitely pushing, only 7 tenths off the fastest time so far, but at the moment Danny Hetkamper very much pushing, but perhaps he needs to try and get the best out of the car. But of course, he can't make any setup adjustments, excluding the front wing for qualifying. Once you come out to start your first lap, you qualify
in the final corner. That's looking for a good lap. Come on, Steve, 15, the man who got 2 points scoring in a row. I think he got points in Italy and in Belgium, or Zandvoort. He got points in Zandvoort as well, so he got his first points of the season with, oh, Kai is glitching with his engine.
Well, I mean, we love Steve here at Formula Euro League, of course. Our Season 1 champion is Kai Eltink, very much losing the back end, almost coming out of Dunlop curve, really pushing, validating another lap. So he's going to get a move, and as I was saying before, Kai Eltink abandoned that last lap he had before.
Oh, Monster spins at Degner, so he has to make a quick trip, maybe to the pits, but
he'll have enough time. I was just saying with Kai Eltink abandoning that last lap, which probably would have put him in the top 10 somewhere, and now he's got it all to do. He's got one lap. It's literally arms are sweaty, palms are sweaty, mum's spaghetti time for Kai Eltink. He's going to have to do one opportunity, one shot to deliver that lap, or he's going to be starting at the back of the grid. As I see Darth FIFA now in 11th place. He's improved the first 2 sectors. He's about 2 tenths of a second up, so we'll see where Darth FIFA is. His best qualifying is 9th at the Italian Grand Prix, and he goes 6th fastest.
The man who won last season, the championship.
There you go, absolutely, our reigning defending champion.
Form.
Currently
he wants to
4
defend
points.
his title.
Exactly, 4 points behind the championship leader. Very much still in this title fight.
Felix, just a big tank slapper in Dunlop, and he loses the car as well. So both Williams cars lose it into Dunlop, and he just narrowly avoids contact with the wall, I think, there.
But whilst that was going on there, Ballina, 5th fastest in the Alfa Romeo. So much more like it from him. Pole sitter at the Italian Grand Prix last weekend out. 3/10 short, a quarter of a second off Bolin, and no one's been able to beat that time for Bolin.
Corner, sorry, but he's looking for a major improvement that will put him P14.
A driver that did very well in our F3 category whilst we had it for a while, clearly struggling to mix it with the big boys in this F1 series, but a guy with a lot of pace. He showed that when he first joined the series, but clearly not being able to find the right balance around this track. It really is a test for some of these drivers to really nail it right, and sometimes if you get it right, it can be huge for your qualifying. If you get it wrong, it's really going to struggle. One guy that does need to get it right is R13 Gamer, our winner last season, on the softer tyres now. We'll try and go through this lap with him to see how he does. He comes through the first corner, full throttle of the first part, then hard on the brakes, quickly shifting into 5th gear to get the rotation on the car. Now coming through the S's, keep it in sit. A little bit of a confidence slip there, had to drop it into 5th gear, which unsettled the underlay of the car there, really caused it to understeer a little bit, so not quite as confident. Goes through the Dunlop curve, goes a bit wide there, almost onto the grass, manages to hold it. It's going to cost him a bit of time, but he's up on his previous time, although he did set that on the mediums. So right now he's about 3.5 temps up in the first sector. To see how he goes through the hairpin section, you need a bit of a wide entry. Probably missed the apex on entry there, R13 Gamer, so compromised his exit. He's got Danny Hetkamper ahead of him, who kind of blocked the outside a bit, but he's okay, didn't really cost him too much time. Now coming through the spoon curve, this will see how much confidence he has in the car. Nice entry into the first part, the second one was okay, bit uncertain over the rotation and the shifting of the gears coming up there to minimise the wheel spin on the traction. Now he's coming up all the way up to 130R. He's a lot faster in the middle sector. He's about half a second up on his previous time. So far, pushing around the top 6 or 7 places. How is he in the final few corners? Took that chicane rather well. A little bit of oversteer on the exit, but he comes across the line, and that's a very good time from Benjamin. 1:25.8. That's more like the Benjamin that we know. Good effort there from the Ferrari driver.
Oh, 1:25.493.
Wow, clearly we were following the wrong lap there. Of course, Bolin setting the bar and then absolutely smashing it. Great effort from him. Just looking further down the order, who's on a flying lap? There's a few guys. Kai Eltink is on an outlap, his final outlap.
He isn't going to make it.
Well, we should remember that there is a buffer. For whatever reason on this game, guys, don't forget that there is a bit of a buffer in terms of time. So Kai Eltink might, does he have enough time? He's going a bit slow at the moment, so his qualifying might not be over yet. Let's wait and see as he comes through the final corner now.
Does he get
Yeah, I think he's got enough time. The time is a bit wrong on this one, guys, so I do apologise for this. But Kai Eltink now coming across the line to start his final flying laps. Let's stay on board with him now. Let's see what the reigning champion, well, sorry, the championship leader, I should say, on his final flying lap. Matthias Gamer goes 8th fastest in the Alfa Romeo, so he's fairly close on the 4th row of the grid. But now Kai Eltink going through the S's there, leaving it all on the line. He leaves in his 6th gear, the back end stepping out just a bit, but he's able to correct it. Shifts down to 4, so he tucks the inside, goes through Dunlop curve. He's a bit wide on entry on the apex, but he manages to hold it, and like last time out, had to scrub up a bit of speed. A pretty good first sector time at the moment, but he's a bit off a bowling as he goes through the 2 Degners. Now climbing up underneath the tunnel towards the hairpin. We saw R13 Gamer earlier on as Monster goes 2nd fastest. Great effort from him there, improving on his earlier time on the front row. Kai Eltink now with it all to do from the back of the field right now. Can he get near the upper echelons of this field in qualifying now? As we're seeing, coming through the spoon curves, very much a lot of grip in that racing point. Managed to hold it nicely, good exit. Now on the throttle early, up the hill now as we approach 130R. Very good middle sector time. This one is going to challenge for the front spots in the session now as it comes through the final corner, takes a wide berth on entry, manages to get it slowed down, right then left, early on the power, pretty stable that racing point as it comes across the line. What is it going to be? A 1:26.1.
We'll just follow Thomas, who is improving, so it's, oh, he just invalidated it, no. Maybe Balliner.
To be honest, he was around about where
still on the
Kai
lap.
would have been. Yes, the Balliner's on the lap, so and he's
Oh,
lost
and he
it.
bottled
There we
it.
go.
Commentators curse.
Well, I was surprised he managed to get another lap in, to be honest. I thought he was surely not going to make the line, but he did. But that looks like the end of qualifying as Bolin, once again, Matthias, for the second time this season, gets on the pole. Can he convert it this time, though? He's been up there again. He's been up there so often, and that first win has eluded him for some time. Can today be the day? It's all to play for him in the Japanese Grand Prix. A very, very tight pack indeed.
Yes, Bolin gets his second place of the season. As you said, Monster with a strong P2 to keep his championship hopes alive. Flynn finishing third, Michael in fourth place, so he is looking to attack Flynn for the podium. Benjamin, where he got his maiden win last season, in fifth place. Balliner in sixth, Plausible in seventh place after his also maiden win last time out in Italy. Kai in eighth, and we have Matthias in ninth and Roy Boy in 10, and you have current champion, reigning champion Thomas in 12th place. That's interesting.
Yeah, very interesting qualifying. Of course, as I see some standout performances in there. Of course, another impressive qualifying for Bolin, getting on pole once again. Monster, very good effort from him. Usually a very good qualifier, up in second place. So he'll definitely be looking to go one better this weekend for his championship challenge. Flynn finisher, another reliable, consistent qualifier in the top three once again. A return to fourth for Maiko and R Gamer, completing the top five. Great effort from those guys. Ferrari starting to look more like the powerhouses they were earlier in the season when they had Darfifa and R Gamer in the Scuderia. Just looking through some of the chat as well, guys, to say hi to us if you are watching, if you're enjoying the action, and of course, I don't see any reason why you couldn't be enjoying the action. After the day we've had in the Formula One world, it's definitely on a feel-good high at the moment. But of course, if you are new to the stream, thank you. Welcome for joining us for Formula Euroleague on this Sunday evening, wherever you are watching around the world. And if you are new to the channel, make sure to follow us. We are www.twitch.tv/Formula Euroleague. So make sure to follow and give a like to the video. And if you are watching on YouTube, the video should come out a day afterwards. So that's Formula_Euro_League.
Yeah,
so it looks like we're about to get underway.
Yeah, and the predicted pit stop strategy is soft to hard.
That's a bit
What would you reckon?
I would say, I think you can get away with a soft medium on this track.
Oh,
it's definitely a one-stop.
It is a one-stop, but you have to stretch the softs really long. Because the mediums and your driving style, if you have an aggressive driving style, you'll need to maybe adjust your strategy.
No, that's true. I mean, usually from experience, I'm more of a driver that prefers the sort of smooth textbook driving style like Jenson Button does. So I try not to take too much life out the tyres, really managing the input on the steering wheel. Yeah, managing the input on the steering wheel. But for some of these guys, obviously pad users won't get that luxury to try and manage it. So tyre wear is going to be critical for them. So, I mean, soft hard is probably the way to go. I just think you could get away with a medium tyre in the second stint. However, if we get a safety car at the right time...
Oh, I love safety cars.
Safety cars, well, that makes one of us, but safety cars definitely spice up the racing. But if we get one, which is more often than not likely round this sort of track, it may persuade guys to change their tyre strategies and go to the medium tyres. It's certainly an option, but I would say probably most likely soft hards. As I said, some of the medium tyre runners may be thinking of going long, hoping for a safety car, and put on the softer tyres when the others are putting harder tyres towards the end of the race. But we'll have to wait and see. We've got Darfifa in 12th place, definitely out of position. We've also got the likes of Felix down in 19th, definitely well out of position. Joran as well, we haven't mentioned Joran yet, our winner in Monaco.
Oh my god.
One of my favourite drivers in this series. Absolutely love the stuff that Joran does in this series. Great driver in 11th place on the softer tyres. So a bit of a parity on strategy for Joran and the other guys outside the top 10. So we'll have to wait and see. And of course we've got Roy Boy back with us in the McLaren. It's been a while since Roy Boy's been racing in Formula Euroleague. He won the F2 race in believe it was Germany last season, if I remember rightly. A brilliant performance with Fleischenball, of course, he was against. So let's see what he does today. But it looks like we're about to get underway, guys. The pack is forming.
Yes.
Turn up the volume.
Leave the kids at grandma's.
Grandma's, that's it. Get comfortable. That's it. Lovely. And, we're about to get underway for Formula Euro League. So as I said, once again, take the phone off the hook, turn up the volume, leave the kids at grandma's. We're about to get underway.
I don't see the lights, but it says that, and it's a bit glitching again, but still show us the lights.
Wait for it, guys. I'm sure we'll know eventually.
Yeah, Bolin is wrapping up, and then we're ready.
There we go.
A lot of drive-throughs actually already for Esvido. As look at the start from Monster, he takes the lead from Bolin, and Bolin doesn't have the start of dreams he was hoping to have, and Michael loses a couple of positions as Balliner and Benjamin improve their spots on the roster. Now Dark FIFA as well, all the way from 12 already up to 9th place. Now it's Monster already leading the race, and now Bolin is being put on pressure behind from Flynn finisher, and now it's almost Kai who wants to make a move on Mike already, and I think he already got a warning so early in the race, but he is looking to fight Monster, hopefully 1 point in the race to deny his championship hopes. So but he has to watch his mirror for the reigning race winner, Pluishable, as AMCF 33 battles from also quite far down the grid, as Joran fell all the way back to 20th on the grid, all the way down to last, as he now has to watch Felix unfold with SVDL, who has a drive-through penalty. So the top 5 is pretty not too close to each other, but look at the midfield for the final points. SVDL is going. OMC have been overtaken by Roy Boy in 130R, and he's been slaughtered by Lorenzo Bandini under the race. Can he hang on to it? Yes, no. He has to cut around the outside, but now he has it by using the overtake button. And there's a yellow flag. It's Joran who has been spun around. As look how busy it is here now with those guys, and SVDL is serving his drive-through penalty, and that's a chaotic first lap of the race with still no DNFs, but a couple of guys who are fairly out of position. But here the battle for the last couple of points is amazing to watch.
Yeah, it was a great getaway. SVDL jumping the start there, hence his drive-through penalty. One guy that absolutely nailed the start was Monster. Brilliant getaway, almost instantaneous. Bolin got bogged down, similar to how Valtteri Bottas did in earlier Italian Grand Prix. Just didn't get away when the lights got out, and Monster got alongside the inside, as you often do in Japan, and got the movement to turn 1. Brilliant start from him. R13. Gamer, one of the specialists off the line on the first lap.
Oh, you're right, crashed out of the pits.
Repeating some of his heroics earlier, up into 4th place, as you mentioned. Joran having a torrid start to this race. It's got bad to worse for him. But yeah, R Gamer up into 4th place. Kyle Tink up into 6th now. He's ahead of Maiko, who equally has not had a good start. He's got Plajabo in the Ferrari all over the back of him with his teammate Darth FIFA, the leading medium tyre runner. So watch out for Darth FIFA as Plajabo tries to go around the outside of the chicane. He's not going to have the room. He tags FEO AMG, and he's going to get the run on the exit there.
Oh, it's the Mercedes making contact.
Darth FIFA.
And that might be championship over for Thomas, who made contact with his teammate.
How unfortunate.
Oh no.
Well, that was crazy stuff there, because I was just saying Darth FIFA was the man to watch on the medium tyres in 9th place, who usually is very quick in the races, and all of a sudden the incident between Plajabo and FEO AMG where they tackled
AMC 33 has been spun around as well.
And as you can see, yeah, Plajabo tagging FEO AMG there, a bit unfortunate there, probably was a bit harsh, and it caused the Mercedes driver to lose control on the exit to keep the Ferrari driver, and he ends up accidentally tagging his teammate, completely ruining Darth FIFA's race. Not sure if he's got damage on that Mercedes, but what a turn up for the books, and that's helped Kyle Tink massively, who's just moved up into 5th place ahead of Ballina now, getting after the leaders. So huge advantage to Kai Elting in this championship battle. His main rival is now out of the action at the moment. Further up the order at the front.
Not yet, it's a long race. He's been put under pressure.
Still, definitely, plenty of racing to go, but of course at this point in time, very much advantage Kai Elting now. He's got Monster. Now the gap is down to 2/10. Bolling all over the back of him. Flynn finisher joining of a company. This is going to get very interesting as Bolling tries to go around the outside, as Pleasurable tried to do earlier, but this time manages to get the traction on the braking and makes the move. That's a brilliant overtake from Bolling, with Monster now down into 2nd. DRS is now enabled, but Bolling will have it.
Double overtake on Monster.
Yeah, Flynn finisher around the outside into
double
turn
trouble.
1. Monster just didn't have the DRS because Bolin had it ahead of him, and he was just completely swallowed up there by Flynn Finish. A great overtake. This is great racing so far. Now Ardapple Gamer joining the party. Where has Benjamin been all season? We have missed this, and he's fighting at the front once again. Brilliant stuff to see.
Oh yeah. As AMCF 33 and Thomas are into the pit, and Felix has made an okay start up into P15 after 4 laps of racing. Now we have some battles more in the background here with Steve in 12th place. You love to see it, 2 places from the points. So I think we all love to see that one. As Kai is really close to Benjamin, and Benjamin is even closer to Monza, and there's a yellow flag as AMCF 33 collided with championship reigning champion Thomas, and I think he's going to be furious with that, and he's going to be really mad at AMCF 33. But now Benjamin looking to make it done even before 130 yards, so that's big ballsy from him, making it work before. Yeah, amazing stuff from the guy we've missed for so long. Yeah, 100%. And now he might have to watch his mirrors, as he does not have DRS. Does Monster has DRS? I don't know. He has. But now Flynn is really close to the back of the Red Bull, who is now in the lead, and Monster overtook Benjamin again, so Benjamin must have made a mistake, and Berliner spun! Berliner spun out of turn number 2, probably on his own, but he got it right. His left front wing end plate got knocked off, so that is his chances of probably getting a race win done. And Sky gets his first time penalty of the race already after 4.5 laps of racing, so he has to watch his actions by cutting the corners.
Well, yeah, we just saw, obviously, R13 Gamer getting a bit wide and squirmish out of the exit of turn 2, hence why Monster managed to get ahead of him, and now R13 Gamer trying to push hard to get it back, but he's got Kai Elton for company at the moment, so we're starting to see these guys really pushing early on. This is not really what you want to be doing and manage your tyres, but clearly that's the last thing on their mind now, as Kai Elton gets a great run on a spoon curve, but R13 Gamer is going to have the slipstream from Monster to defend with, so at this point in time, the 3 of them literally fighting hard.
Benjamin is going to send it. Make contact.
Wheels there.
Yeah, but Monster still has the corner. It's now a 3-way battle. Kai has overtook Benjamin, and is he looking to overtake Monster? Yes, he has now on the straight. And look at Benjamin, he comes back at Monster, and he's now down the inside of Kai, and Kai goes a bit wide there, and Benjamin manages to stay in P4, but Monster again double trouble.
Wow, and this is the thing, Kai Elting, one of the more opportunistic drivers for a reason, saw the battle unfold between Monster and R13 Gamer, bided his time, got himself on the right part of the track, opened the DRS, and a double overtake down the back straight. That's phenomenal stuff from him. And now up into 3rd position, despite that penalty. Pleasurable sitting there nicely in 6th place, watching this all unfold with Maiko behind him. The top 7 separated by literally just a few seconds. It's blisteringly fast stuff here at Suzuka. Absolutely loving it.
Yeah, and the top 2 is pulling away from the top, the 3rd, 4th and 5th place cars, as now Plausible is looking to get into this train, as he is being followed by Mike, and then there's a 3.5 second gap to Roy Boy, and it's yellow into the points as Steve P11. That's what we like to see. Come on Steve, make a move for another point scoring finish. I would love to see that, Steve again into the points.
You know, he's a guy that obviously fond memories of inaugural champion of Formula Euro League, one of the co-founders as well. Not able to spend much time, obviously he has more important commitments in his life, and I don't blame him, to be honest, but it's great to see that he's performing better than he was earlier in the season, definitely challenging for points, so we want to see Steve do well in this series, so great stuff to see from him. We'll have to keep an eye on his progress as this race unfolds. As you pointed out earlier, Matthias, 7 laps into this race now, the top 2 breaking away from Kai Elting now, who's not got any DRS to play with, but he's got R13 Gamer, who's losing control there. The Ferrari just about manages to hold on to that one. Almost had a bit of a nightmare coming out of the S's with Monster, Pleasurable, FEOMG, and a bit further back Roy Boy keeping them for company. But right now the top 7 breaking away. There's 2 classes at the moment, but this is what we want to see. This is the sort of racing we get around Japan, and it's great to see so far these guys all following line of Sturb, already some brave overtakes, and it looks like we've got plenty more, but it looks like Kai Elting starting to close the gap on this lap to the 2 leaders, so plenty of action there. Felix now up into 12 places, overtaking Kerem, so leading, so the Williams driver looking to try and get further up, obviously returning to the team after a sabbatical earlier this season. He's back, not quite firing where he wants to be, but he's certainly making progress, and maybe some championship points when this race comes to its conclusion.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting to see, also at the back and at the front, as there's such small gaps, as Donkey has overtaken Dani Headcamper, but he's gone quite far wide there with Dani Headcamper. Oh, sorry, that's an early stop.
Yeah, so
there's a yellow flag.
All onto the
yellow
harder
flag
tyres.
For Roy. Roy has gone wide at the final corner.
Yes, so our top 3 have all pitted onto the harder tyres. So they've gone for the traditional strategy, which is soft hard. They've pitted early, so they've managed to mitigate any undercut threats from the guys behind. But let's see how this goes. R13 Gamer now in the lead. Clear air. He goes very wide at the Dunlop curve there, and it's going to allow Monster an opportunity to get back at him. He's made a few mistakes, R13 Gamer, the last couple of laps. Is he starting to struggle on the softer tyres? Maybe it's time to take those off, as Maiko gets very loose coming out of the second Degner there, following Pleasurable in the second Ferrari at the moment. Just looking where the leaders are, as Flynn Finisher overtakes his teammate Rory Boy, gets out of the way, but also ends up allowing Kai Elting. So Bolin in clear air at the moment, looking to maximise this undercut with Flynn Finisher and Kai Elting following in close pursuit. It's going to be very, very tight to see where they all end up now. Surely R13 Gamer will go to the pits. One driver this will not favour Matthias is Pleasurable in the second Ferrari. Surely he's going to have to do another tour.
Okay, he should have gone into the pits 1 lap earlier.
Well, it's the earlier end of the stops. I mean, some of these guys could probably take the softer tyres to lap 10. I just think perhaps Bolin and
Monster into the pits with Pleasurable, with Michael staying out, Matthias staying out, Lorenzo staying out, and Felix as well surprisingly staying out on the softs.
Well, looking at the state of the tyres on the leaders, they looked relatively okay. So it might be okay. Just looking where Bolin is, he's coming through the final straight here. Pleasurable, I don't see, no sorry, excuse me, I thought they were going to come out in front. But Bolin, there you go. So Bolin is through into 10th position. Flynn Finisher and Kai Elting just ahead. So there you go, that's the undercut there. It's probably worth giving them about, I don't know, a couple of seconds, I'd say. Yeah, about 2 seconds. They've managed to get another undercut there. So R13 Gamer, that's the sort of time he's lost to them at the moment, as is Maiko. So perhaps they're going a bit longer on this soft tyre stint to give themselves a bit more options as this race unfolds. Don't know if the safety car is going to happen in the next couple of laps. It'd be a miracle for them if it does, but nonetheless, going a little bit longer, will this pay off for them later on, or are they going to suffer with the undercut? Because right now, Matthias, it's fair to say R13 Gamer and FEOMG 44 may find themselves at the back of this train of lead cars once the pit stops are done.
That's not something you want.
No.
But no, as it's a track where you can overtake, as we've already seen in this race, but it's still quite hard to do so, as there are not too many opportunities, and the opportunities you have are at quite high speed corners, except for the chicane and the hairpin at the beginning of sector 2. Turn 1 is quite fast as well, so it's really hard to overtake.
So our double gamer this goes on another
Space
lap,
out.
whereas Maiko goes into the pits. Plajabal getting a time penalty for multiple warnings. So this is going to be interesting.
Oh, no.
Bolin has just gone through, as is Flynn finisher. Kai Elting also through. Where is Monster and Plajabal?
That's
There they
interesting.
are. So Maiko comes out just behind them as he was before the stop first. So he didn't lose too much time to the guys in front. So this begs the question, are the softer tyres still okay? It looks like Benjamin seems to feel okay at the moment. He's lapping around about a second off of his fastest pace. That's not too much of a drop off in pace. He's managing it quite well, but at this point in time you'd have to say he's probably going to come out around about where Maiko is. So still going to be behind Plajabal. It's going to be very close, but certainly not where the top three are, but he may have more tyre available to him to use to attack later in this race. Still plenty of time for things to change in this Grand Prix. It's all a big game of chess at the moment. That's what we love about it. All going to come to the fore very, very soon now as he comes through 130R. Very, very quick stuff at the moment. Is he going to pit on this lap? The one-stop window would prompt him to pit on this lap, and he does.
How many times you lose at a pit stop? 25 seconds?
Give or take. But and he's going for the medium tyres. So there we go, Matthias. Benjamin repping my strategy choice there, going long on the softs. He's going for the medium. So this is going to be interesting. Let's see how this will work out for him. I'm loving the ambition from him. We'll have to wait and see if it pays off for him. All those medium tyres do 16 laps, or 17 laps I should say, as he comes out, as I said before, behind the leading trail. So he's lost track position, he's lost about 3 places in all of that. Now he's going to make it all back. He's on the faster, grippier tyre, but the question is, how much grip will they give him? This is a flag.
Donkey spun. Whoops. As Maiko in Monster, and Plajabal are trying to get past Monster, but Monster has to find the gap to Kai, Flynn and Bolin, who are all separated by 1.5 second max. And then you have a 2.2 second gap to Kai and Monster as Felix overtook Steve, I think, under braking for the for the hairpin, as he is now looking to make good progress here. And Monster, a 3-second time penalty that will probably infect his race big time.
Yeah, we're starting to see a few of them get penalties now, and it's important to try and minimise as much as possible the time penalties that you get in this race. I'm just looking at the harder tyres at the moment. Bolin looking very, very comfortable, up in a fairly similar place to Finn finisher at the moment. So around about a 10th between. Kai Elting also matching them at the moment. Monster a bit further back, seems to be struggling on these harder tyres compared to Plajabal, who's looking very racy in the Ferrari.
Overtook Maiko into the main straight.
So there you go. So those medium tyres, very quick already.
Yeah, it's a good day for Ferrari so far.
But as you can see, as I mentioned before, those medium tyres starting to give R Gamer that grip he needs to try and do some overtake. The next car ahead is his teammate, who's looking very racy to try and get past Monster. So will Plajabal play the team game? Of course, not a permanent Ferrari driver at this point in time. May be inclined to let his teammate through, who's on a different strategy to him at the moment, because the last thing R Gamer wants is to be bogged down behind his teammate. He really needs to clear these two quickly, get after the leaders in order to make this strategy work.
Yeah, I think you can make it work by just saving your tires a couple of laps, and then you'll be fine for the rest of the race laps remaining.
Yeah, plenty of running left to do, and of course those medium tyres going longer should give him more options, but of course right now he's on a timer at the moment. He needs to get these moves done early, get out of the turbulent air of the cars in front to really avoid heating up and wearing those tyres faster than he would like. As you can see, coming through the final corner, he's just got so much grip. Then the harder tyre runners now coming through the final corner. Plajabal's going to have DRS and slipstream. So is R Gamer. Is R Gamer going to make the move on his teammate? He's closing up to him, but not quite quick enough. Plajabal not allowing his teammate to go through at this point in time. So right now, this is hurting R Gamer's race. He needs his teammate to get out of the way to allow him to attack the guys in front, but Plajmol clearly not paying his teammate any favours whatsoever.
But Karam is also closing up to Lorenzo Bandini, who are the provisional leaders. Maybe we see a battle unfold there for who is eventually going to take the spot of the final points on the table. I think that's the battle for.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see away at the moment, you can see the two Ferraris literally line of third now. Great exit out of the hairpin from R Gamer.
Yellow
on the inside there.
For
Overtakes Plajmol.
AMCF.
And Plajmol tucks in, doesn't try to overtake his teammate. Now he's got the move done. He needs to get a move on now, R Gamer. He's probably lost a bit of time trying to overtake his teammate now. He needs to clear Monster. And at the moment, perhaps on the faster tyres, he might have better luck with it. Plajmol will close up to Monster as well at the moment. So the Ferraris need to work together at this point. They're very, very fast, but they have to work together in order to catch the guys at the front, because the front three are fairly regular in pace, but they are still getting away. So it's not out of the question for our Gamer now, as he's got the DRS here.
Yeah, he's going to overtake him.
And he does. That's a beautiful view there. Great overtake from our Gamer. Gets it done at the earliest opportunity. Good move from him. Monster not really fighting it. Clearly knows that any chance of getting back at our Gamer will come later in the race. But right now, up to 7th place. It's a net P4 at the moment for our Gamer. Just looking at the medium tyre runners in the top 3 at the moment, they've done 14 laps almost on these medium tyres. So it'll be interesting to see how far they go.
And how far Benjamin can go.
But at this point, as the fuel load goes down, the car weighs less, more rubber laid down on the track. All of these will favour our Gamer's strategy choice to go onto the medium tyres and will allow the tyres to last. But of course, it will get to that point how long before that grip advantage he has drops off and comes back to the harder tyre runners. That's going to be the key. Right now, he's about, looking at the gap, about 4 seconds off the lead at the moment, and he's got 3 cars to overtake. So still a lot of work to do, but he's definitely in this race, our Gamer. Certainly do not rule him out to making this alternate strategy work out.
Yeah, Benjamin is on a mission, but the Hearts will get better grip how more the race is coming to a close. As look how close Plajmol is to the Williams of Monster. As Monster's the only Williams in the points over, as Felix is trying when Plajmol overtakes him for what is a P5 in the end. So Monster having not the best days, or what he could have on this day after he got an amazing start from P2. But yeah.
Monster's getting a bit sick of DRS at the moment. He's getting tired of watching Ferraris just breeze past him into turn 1. Yeah, it's a contrasting races at the moment. It started so well for Monster, very quick in qualifying, got a lightning start, but as this race has gone on, his pace has deteriorated, and that's allowed the leaders to sort of overtake. Speaking of the leaders, we've got Danny Hetkamper battling away with Bolin. So Bolin needs to clear these guys, because this is for track position. Hetkamper under no circumstances to let him through on the alternate strategy. These guys going for medium to soft, so they're going long. Bolin needs to clear, because he's lost half a second to Flynn Finisher, who looks like he's catching him now. So what can Bolin do? He has to clear. Danny Hetkamper going into 130R, doesn't have the speed to do it. He's literally pushing that Renault along. Go to the inside for the big dive on there, surely. No. Danny Hetkamper does not allow. He says no to the Red Bull drive, and this is a nightmare for Bolin. He needs to clear it. And now he finally does. Surely Danny Hetkamper's not going to fight him into turn 1. In completely different strategies, but I tell you what, I love to see it. You've got to get those moves done.
The spirit of Danny is there to fight the leaders.
Well, that's what you want to see. You want to see it. You don't want to say, look, I'm not going to let you through. You're going to have to earn it, son. If you want that first win, you're going to have to earn it. As you can see, further down the order, Kerem, who was second, has now gone into the pits. Lorenzo Bandini now in the lead of the race. And
you shall not pass. That was a little bit like Danny in 130.
Not a bad Gandalf impression at all.
You shall not pass.
But going from Mordor all the way to Suzuka, completely
from
different
Hobbit
worlds
world
altogether. And but as you can see
Frodo,
now,
where are you?
Bolin has cleared Heckcamp, and now Flint Finisher's got the joy of going up to him. Just looking further down, R Gamer not exactly closing up to the back of Kai Eltic at the moment. He's a few tenths faster, but certainly not at the pace he needs to be in order to try and catch him. Maybe he's managing those medium tyres, because right now his teammate Plygibol is much faster than he is.
Is Flint going to send it? No. He still is behind Headcamper, but is Headcamper going to pit? Yes!
He does this time. So has R Gamer taken out the peak performance in his medium tyres already? We have to wait and see now, but Bolin retakes the lead of this race as Lorenzo Bandini finally calls it a day, but they did 16 laps on those medium tyres, Matthias, so it does show
looking
that
okay, but not okay. It's a good gamble for Benjamin, but he has to save his tyres when we're approaching the end of the race. Felix into the point. Sorry, I got a bit too excited there. As he's close to the back of Karam, who just rejoined on fresh softs, and he has to watch his back for. Huh? Why did Lorenzo Bandini go for hards? That's just, I don't understand.
Very strange strategy choice from there, but it's definitely the wrong one.
From another universe.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly not sure what his strategist
universe
recommended there, but whoever his strategist is might as well hand in his P45 or his resignation, because that's not a wise choice from him there. Looking at Kerem,
Ferrari be like.
Kerem's going to be very rapid on those softer tyres in the Hust. He's only about a second behind Matthias Gamer, but he's about 11 seconds behind the leading cars after that. So keep an eye out for Kerem. He may become a factor towards the end of this race for this lead group, but at the moment, Bolin just over a second ahead of Flint Finisher. The gap has come down after the traffic had to face Kai Elting, managing that gap about a second and a half behind R Gamer, a further second and a half behind Plygibol though.
Flynn is on a run.
Right behind his teammate with DRS now, so the two Ferraris are going to lock horns once again, much to the dismay of R Gamer. I'm pretty sure
disconnected.
That's a shame. But I'm pretty sure R Gamer did not want to have to deal with his teammate anytime soon, as Kerem, no surprise, sets the fastest lap of the race. So that's going to be some bonus points coming his way, unless Danny Heckcamper beats that. Probably the only driver I think that probably could, under the circumstances at the moment. But yeah, as you can see, R Gamer starting to lose a bit of ground now to Kai Elting. So perhaps those medium tyres starting to fade already. Perhaps he pushed them too hard early on.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Still, it's a long way to gain 9 laps remaining. But maybe Benjamin will let his teammate through. For
I'll be
him
surprised. I'll be surprised, because Plygibol didn't offer him the same sort of courtesy, but at this point in time, Plygibol so much faster on the harder tyres than his teammate. If his teammate's holding back, he needs to get a move on, because right now he's falling back very, very quickly, and Plygibol realising also very quickly that if he's going to get on the podium today, he needs to clear his teammate. Have the pace. Speaking of someone who does have the pace, it's Flint Finisher in second place now, in the DRS of Bolin. As Plygibol goes for a move up the inside, he overtakes R Gamer very easily. So you can see the two Ferraris not having too much to squabble over on that occasion. So Plygibol clearly much faster than his teammates. So that strategy choice from R Gamer starting to go against him now. Have to keep an eye on his pace. But yeah, Flint Finisher very much in the hunt for the race lead. Bolin has not won yet in Formula EuroLeague. Was so close when these two were fighting each other in Canada. Of course, that penalty knocked him off the top step of the podium for Flint Finisher. Can Flint Finisher give him more pain and misery here in Japan, or can Bolin hold his nerve? We've got just over 8 laps to go here, the final part of the race. Bolin not put a foot wrong all race. Can he see it through?
I hope he can. It will be his first race after missing out on several occasions already this season.
But as I said before, it's always that detrimental position that you find yourself in. You know, mentally, you need to get that first win. He's had opportunities before, hasn't really paid off for him. Of course, safety cars and strategy and other things have gone against him. And sometimes it's just not your day. It isn't your day. But today, he's been so good, knocking on the door, ready to smash it down to claim that first win in this series. And once you get it, you really feel the shackles are lifted from you. But speaking of which, a driver that has the shackles lifted off them is Pleasurable, blisteringly quick in the Ferrari on the harder tyres. This is the Pleasurable that we've seen Matthias commentated on in the F2 series, now finally showing his pace as he did the winner of the Italian Grand Prix. Now starting to put his hat in the ring now. 8 laps to go. Can he catch the leaders and try and win this race as well?
Yeah, I'm just switching to the battle for the final points between the fresh soft runner Dani Headkamper and Felix and Matthias, as Felix is just really close to the back of the Alfa Romeo, and this Alfa of Matthias is the only one in the points, surprisingly, after his teammate said, I think that stands for Shazoo Ballinger, spun out of turn number 2. And he needed to repair his front wing. So I think we'll have to take a look how this battle will unfold, as we still have 7 laps of racing remaining. Jesus.
Well, you got one out there somewhere, but let us know, guys, who do you think is going to win this race? Right now, the top 2 do not have any penalties to worry about. Kai Elting does have a penalty, and Pleasurable will overtake him. As it stands at this point in time now, we're on lap 21. As you can see, Flynn Finisher 8 tenths behind the leader. With the DRS now, it's starting to get very tasty. Can Bolin get his maiden win in Formula Euroleague, or will Flynn Finisher get his second victory?
He won in Canada, yeah, sorry.
That's right, won on his debut in the Canadian Grand Prix, I believe. Both of them were on making their debuts that race. Very impressive stuff from them. And,
watch Felix and Matthias going side by side into turn 1 as Matthias goes really wide as he gets a time penalty and he loses out to the final points. As now Felix and Dani are into the points, as Dani is looking to push his car, big voice crack for me, his car up into 9th place, which will equal 2 points.
That's a good move there from Felix, right down the inside using the DRS. Matthias Gamer trying to hold it round the outside, but it took too much throttle there and he ended up going very wide. He's on 10 lap old harder tyres, so clearly not got, sorry, he's on the same sort of tyres that Felix was on, so really lost out there, and also lost out to Dani Headkamper, who's roaring along on the soft tyres like Karen was. He was one of the lead group that went on the mediums very long in the opening stint, now paying dividends back to him on the softer tyre. You see Flynn Finisher now much closer to Bolin. The gap is maintained around about 7-8 tenths of a second, and now he's in the DRS again. He's edging ever closer. As you can see, the McLaren driver really, he can sniff a second race victory here. Bolin must be sweating hard in that cockpit. How is your bottle? How are your nerves at this point in time?
There's yellow in sector 1-4.
I think that's a Monster and
No,
it's having a battle there.
I think who's got... Oh, it's Uran.
Sorry, I was just saying.
Maiko overtook Monster.
Overtaking. Yeah, sorry, that's what I was saying. Maiko overtaking Monster into turn 1. So Monster, his fall from grace from the start of this race is really apparent now as he's falling down into 7th outside the lead group. Probably won't have to worry about Kerem too much, as Kerem's a further 12.5 seconds back with a time penalty. But those two battling hard. It's been a good race for Maiko. He's been a bit off the cusp of the front runners, but he's definitely much improved. Hopefully a sign of things to come in future races. But Monster still all over the back of that Mercedes, clearly wants that 6th position back. He's fighting for the championship too, you know, he's not out of it, but at this point in time he needs to move further up the field in order to be back in the pack. There's Flynn Finisher now all over the back of Bolin. Now he's half a second back. This is as close as he has been all race to Bolin, as Bolin gets good traction out of the final corner to build up a few tenths, but now DRS engaged, overtake mode engaged. You can see Flynn Finisher using everything he has to keep to get up to Bolin. Neither of them have much battery left to use. It's very much a track where you use a lot of battery at this point in time, and yeah, these two getting very close. This one could get very interesting as Thomas Starfifa, our reigning defending champion, looks like he's going to lose a buttload of points to Kai Elting in this race. It's really not been his day. Very unfortunate what has happened to him earlier on. As they're saying, he got caught up in the incident with Plajabol and his teammate, sent him off into a spin and completely ruined his race. He was on the alternate strategy as well, so I guess we'll never know how he'd have done today.
It was looking good till the crash with his teammate, as it had completely ruined this race, out of sync with all the guys in front of him. But yeah, maybe it's just going to be like a Sainz Gasly thing where he gets close into the end but can't make the move Flynn finisher. But I really hope he can attack Bolin, as that will make it a lot of excitement. And now Kai will gain another 15 points on Thomas. That will make the gap 20 points with 2 races remaining after this one. So he has to outscore Thomas next race by how many points? By 6.
I think it's 3 races left, I think, actually, so we should be alright. I don't think Kai can win the championship the next race the way things stand, but he can very much put himself in a very strong position to take the title in our penultimate race towards the end of the season in a few weeks' time. So it's all to play for still, but at the moment it looks like very much Kai Elting's advantage. Although at this point in time, speaking of advantages, he still hasn't been able to shake off Plajabol, and Plajabol playing himself nicely into the podium positions at this point, owing to the time penalty. Kai Elting is still carrying on for 3 seconds. As I was saying, back to the leaders, we're talking about the battle with one McLaren trying to hunt down a Honda-powered Red Bull Racing Car or AlphaTauri car. Can this McLaren driver go one better and get the win? At the moment, the gap has been around 6-7 tenths for the last 5 laps now. Can Flynn Finisher get the job done and overtake Bolin? Can Bolin hold his nerve and get across the line to take his maiden win in Formula Euroleague? If you are not excited by this finish, I do not know what will. Who is it going to be, guys? Let us know in the chat. Is it going to be Bolin? Is it going to be Flynn Finisher for the win?
Well, Flynn is now in the second, but he only gets closer in the DRS straight, as he just loses a little bit on the last couple of seconds, and he just has to get the run on him, and it will be really difficult to beat Bolin with a couple of laps remaining.
Well, as I was saying, front end downforce is so important. You don't want the car to roll on this track, and these tyres have done 16 laps now, so they should still have some fairly decent amount of life left in them. But of course, they are starting to scream a lot now. But in these earlier parts of the lap, Flynn Finisher really catching Bolin, but the turbulent air really plays havoc to him in the mid-speed corners, and that's where Bolin starts to pull away. As there's a yellow flag in sectors 1 and 2 again, as some incidents going on further along. It's AMC at 33, so I don't think they're going to prove to be too much of a problem. They seem to be in a race of their own today, as the Renault of Joran getting bad to worse for him. But as you can see, Flynn Finisher losing a bit of time in the middle sector. That's where Bolin gets away from him. But on this lap, he's followed him pretty well, Flynn Finisher. Very, very close now as they go through Spoon Curve. The gap, half a second. Literally blink and you will miss his stuff. He's looking very much in the mood and looking very close to Bolin now. This is as close as he has been for a while now. As it got to 130R, he's going to have a lot of slipstream coming into 130R. He's going to be very close to the chicane.
He got the purple sector too, so he's on a run.
Yeah, he's on an absolute fly at the moment. He's right behind Bolin. He locks the brakes in. He's got to get a good exit. Bolin gets good traction in that Red Bull. He has once again the gap less than half a second now. This is as close as he's been. Is this going to be the moment? Fastest lap for Flynn Finisher. You can see Bolin swerving right to left, trying to defend. Is Flynn Finisher going to send it? Not this time. He just did not have the speed to get alongside Bolin. He is ever so close. It's painstakingly close to try and get that win. Right now, Bolin holding on by the skin of his Red Bull nose at the moment. This is some great stuff between these two.
Yeah, it's just really close between the top two, and as well from further down in the back, as you see Felix. I'll just switch to that in a second, as look how close they are into the S's is just freaking close. Yeah, but we'll just turn back to Bolin and Flynn to watch the last 1.5 laps of racing here at the Suzuka circuit. And is Bolin going to take his maiden F1 win, or is it going to be Flynn?
Well, you feel Flynn probably has one more big opportunity into turn 1 now, so he's going to have the drive of his life out of the final corner now. As it's now only 4 attempts between them. He gets a good entry there. Bolin needs a good exit. He gets a good exit. There's still plenty of traction. He's got a great exit there, Bolin. Perhaps Flynn carrying too much now, but here we go. All of the battery engaged. It's the final lap of the race.
Oh,
is Flynn going to send it around the inside?
No. He has one more chance.
Perhaps, as you point out, yep, one more chance further back. As you can see, Plige and Bolt going up the inside of Ardapple Gamer. Those two swap places temporarily, and Plige and Bolt has re-overtaken his teammate into 4th place. This is effectively the battle for the final podium spot at the moment, as Kai Elting a bit further back with that time penalty just cannot seem to shake the two Ferraris.
It's really close at the front.
Ardapple Gamer leaving it late.
tenths.
Flynn finisher really throwing that McLaren 8 ways from Sunday to try and close up to Bolin. Is he going to be able to go for the big ballsy dive bomb into 130R and perhaps the final chicane? That's probably the only place he can make the move. Bolin so close to victory, you can almost taste it now, only just corners away from finally getting his name in the Formula Euroleague history books as a race winner. Can he do it? He's got a great exit out of Spoon Curve now, but the long run up the hill, half a second between them. Are we going to see a Senna Prost moment from 88 between the two leaders now as they come through 130R? Bolin, a good run through there. It doesn't look like Flynn finisher is close enough as to go through this gate. Late on the brakes and through there, and it looks like Bolin missed out in the past, but not today. That's about to change as he has won the Japanese Grand Prix for Formula Euroleague. Finally,
third. Benjamin third.
Okay, there you go. Supplyable had a penalty as well. I forgot to mention as Maiko up into 5th place. Ardapple Gamer on the podium for Ferrari. Monster in 7th. Great stuff from Ardapple Gamer getting the podium. He went on the alternate strategy. It did pay off in the end, but the main
Felix
man...
8th, Karam, or Danny 9th, Karam 10th. Lorenzo Bandini in 11th, Donkey good recovery to P12, Matthias P13, Baliner P14, Roy Boy finishing 13th, so it's still McLaren getting only 2 points scoring finish, and that's been in 3rd and 2nd place. But Seb is still looking to make his final lap.
But what a great result that was from Bolin, finally getting it over the line, and he had to work for it. Flynn finisher pushed him all the way, and it probably felt that Flynn finisher, it was only a matter of time before he finally overtook him, but not today. Bolin finally getting his maiden victory here at the home of Honda Racing here in Japan, so another benefit for the Red Bull team as well. And as I said before, this is a man who I think will really challenge for the Formula E League title next year. Both of these drivers will, and Bolin definitely looking the man.
Felix, driver of the day.
Well, it was a great effort from Felix, must be said.
18-8.
But after it's all said and done, finally on the top step of the podium at long last, it's Bolin with his maiden victory for Red Bull Racing here in Formula Euroleague. What a drive from this young man. Brilliant stuff. Flynn finisher 2nd place, a reverse of the result in Canada, where Bolin was not able to keep the victory from the time penalty, but this time he does keep the win. Ardapple Gamer, winner last time out in Japan last season, only 3rd for Ferrari, but his best performance since returning to Formula Euroleague.
Yes.
So now going through the order. So Bolin with the win. Flynn finishes 2nd for McLaren, another strong performance from him. Ardapple Gamer, best results since returning to Formula Euroleague for Ferrari. Kai Elting, 12 precious points in the championship over Darth Fever, extending his lead to 16 points. Maiko 5th for Mercedes. Plajabol, 6th for Ferrari, another good outing for him. Monster looked promising at the start, but he fell down to 7th. Felix up to 8th in the Williams, 9th for Danny Hetkamper, and 10th place rounding up the points for Kerem, clearly on the alternate strategy. So what a race, Matthias. What a battle, a mental battle between the leaders. Eventually Bolin finally getting the win he so often craved and fought for. Is this a sign of things to come for Bolin and Flynn Finisher? Are we looking at the guys to challenge next season for the championship?
Who knows?
So let's see if we can. So let's see if we can get our top 3 for the post-race interviews. Just try and see if we can. I'm pretty sure Bolin's going to want to talk to us after that race. But let us know what you thought of that race, guys. Did you enjoy it? Were you happy for Bolin getting his first win? How do you feel the championship's going to go now? Of course, as we mentioned before, Kai Elting getting 12 points in this race. Darth for not scoring a point, and therefore increasing his lead to 16 points in the Drivers' Championship. So a big result for him. And of course, moving on, do we think Darth Fever can recover to try and get back with 3 races to go, or do we think Kai Elting now is well on the way to becoming a Formula EuroLeague champion for the very first time?
Who knows?
Or on given so far. And of course, if you are new to Formula EuroLeague, make sure you follow us on social media as well, where you get live updates from all of the sessions, including practice, qualifying, the race, and the championship standings as well. And you can follow us on Instagram, that's Formula_Euro_League, and of course on Twitter, it's Euro_Formula. And of course, check out the website as well. Before we forget, we have a website. We've so often forgot to plug that on.
Whoops.
We forget to plug that sometimes. So yeah, faux pas on us, but it's
F1EuropeanLeague.witsite.com.
Yes, our race winner here, Bolin. Finally, my friend, you finally managed to get on the top step.
Come on.
And keep it. And keep it this time. How do you feel after getting that maiden win?
I'm very, very, very happy.
I thought you would get it soon. I told you last week you'll get in this season, and it's happened the next race. Really, really happy. And you just dominated. You got jumped by Monster on the start, but you just retook it in a couple of laps, and you just drove to the end and just smashed everyone. And good defending against Flynn.
Yeah, it was the second stint was difficult. I had a really good pace, but when someone is in your DRS on this track, it's really difficult to drive away.
Yeah, I was just saying earlier on, obviously managing that second part of the stint, because you did pit a little bit earlier than your rivals to try and get that undercut, which worked an absolute treat for you. I noticed that out of the final corner you were getting some excellent traction out of the final corner to defend. Was that something that you set the car up to allow you to do, or was just the nature of your driving that allowed you to do?
Just the nature of my driving, I think.
Or traction control on.
No, it was not a plan or something. But I had good traction there.
No, excellent stuff. And of course, now that you finally got your maiden win in this series, is this the start of things to come? Do you feel now that mentally you've broken the shackles off, you're now free of worrying about that first win, and perhaps many more coming your way, perhaps?
I hope so. I hope so.
Oh, well, I certainly hope so, of course.
Yes, we're gonna do our best.
Well, I certainly hope so. And of course, as I mentioned before, definitely one of the drivers I'll be looking out for next season, of course, joining us later on in the season. But all the best for the rest of the season. And once again, congratulations to the race winner, converting pole position to the win this time, getting his maiden victory in this series. It's VR46_Bolin, the race winner here, the Japanese Grand Prix.
Thank you, guys.
So next joining us, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Flynn Finisher is with us, unfortunately, but we do have our third place finisher, Ardapple Gamer, Benjamin. So first of all, Benjamin, congratulations on another podium. It's your second in a row here in Japan. Obviously, you won here last year. How was it for you? It's your best performance since rejoining us in Formula EuroLeague. So how was the race for you today?
Yeah, I had a really a lot of fun today. I enjoyed Japan a lot. You could see that on my results as well on this track. And yeah, just got a little bit of a slow start on F1 2020, but now I'm getting back to my old pace.
It certainly looks like it, and of course you made the interesting call earlier on in the race to go longer on the soft tyres, to go on the mediums. Was that a strategy choice that you felt towards the end of the race paid off for you, or did you feel perhaps you would have rather gone on to the harder tyres?
Well, I hoped I could go a little bit longer on the softs initially, but they were really slow at the end of the stint, so I decided to pit lap 10 or 11 I think, and just did a little bit of a long stint on the mediums, but it worked out pretty well, overtaking people on the beginning of my stint, and after that I just tried to keep my position, but Blytheswell overtook me, but he got a penalty, so
yeah.
fine.
Well, no, it was a good dynamic to see you battling away with your teammate. It looks like Ferrari obviously having difficulties replacing yourself and your former teammate Darfifa from earlier in the season. Do you feel that in Blytheswell and yourself, Ferrari now have a good team lineup moving on for perhaps next season of Formula EuroLeague? It seems like they're back to where we feel they belong.
Yeah, definitely, but I'm moving to another team next season, but can't tell which one right now.
Oh,
We
well,
already
then
know
there's a
it.
bombshell.
I know it.
Yeah,
Well, no, you know it,
Some
Matthias,
people know
but some people do, some people don't.
Can I
But
tell
we'll
it?
have... No, I think we'll have to leave the suspense and wait until later on. But nonetheless, Benjamin, fantastic performance once again. Great to see you back fighting for podiums and potentially race wins in the future as well. So congratulations on the P3 for today.
Yeah. And I want to thank you guys, everyone who watched this race. I want to thank you. And I hope to see you. I think we're racing next week. I think maybe at Brazil. I'm not sure. But
I think we got a break next week.
I don't remember, but I hope to see you next time we have a race, and I'll have a good night.